Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insight, tech tips, and real stories from the field. This episode was recorded live at AHR 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our guest is Jessica Slaughter with RLS Rapid Locking Systems. I want to give a quick shout out to RLS for all their support of Commercial Kitchen Chronicles over the years. They're a great company. They're passionate about the industry, and I really appreciate what they do. Thanks. What's up, everybody? I'm Pat with Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. We are a food service repair industry podcast. So Jason and myself and our co-hosts, we service restaurant equipment. It's either in a restaurant, hospitals, schools, nursing homes, anywhere you find a commercial kitchen, we work in there. And it's a lot of fun. It covers HVAC, refrigeration, thank you, warewashing, cooking, it's everything. Gas, electric, steam, we do it all. But our real passion is just highlighting skilled trades, and that's what it's really turned into. It's been a lot of fun. We've met a lot of cool people. We go to trade shows, made a lot of friends. And it's been great. So today we have very special guest Jessica Slaughter from RLS Rapid Locking Systems. If you don't know what they are, you're about to find out. It's a pretty cool product. I use it quite a bit, and they got some innovations out this year. So Jessica, how are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on.
Wow, you are sounding loud. Sweet. So I've known Jessica for 4 years now? 3 or 4 years?
5, unfortunately.
Don't say that. RLS is a great company. They really believe in the technicians, the end users. They really support us, have our backs, and it's been a fun partnership the last few years. So, what is RLS for these people that don't know?
Yeah, so RLS is a manufacturer for copper press fittings that are specifically designed for HVAC refrigeration systems. We are manufactured out of St. Louis, Missouri, which is conveniently just about 3.5 hours away from where Pat lives. So he has had the opportunity to come visit us a couple times.
Yep. That's an amazing facility. They make all the fittings right there in-house. They'll give you a tour. No photography, but they'll let you come in and see things. It's a pretty cool place. They've also got this traveling road show. They've got a box truck that they've cut the side and it folds out and has a stage and a platform. It's fully tooled out, kitted out. It's got a burst chamber in there. They actually have it over the booth, so if you have time, go over to the South Hall.
Yeah, South Hall, and we're just the third row back, 332. You honestly can't miss us because it's all black and yellow, and we got a big truck in there.
But that thing travels the country. They have interns or new people, and they kind of just kick them in it and hey, you got to tour the country this year. And it goes around to different suppliers and vendors, and people can come in, try out the products, burst some pipe. That's always a fun one to do. So they have a burst chamber. And they pump the fitting up to, I know mine went over 3,000 PSI before it blew. So yeah. They pump them up, and it's in a little chamber. It's perfectly safe, and you just keep going until it blows up, and then you get your fitting, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. And the weird thing is, it never busts at the fitting. The tubing busts where they brazed on the port, access
the
port.
Valves
it's never the fitting. Yeah. So it's a really cool product. So 3,000 PSI, and it holds.
Yep. Yeah.
So you guys specialize in just all kinds of fittings. I mean, you guys 90s, T's. I mean, you guys are big into the VRF stuff, the Ys. I mean, if there's a fitting and a need, you guys have it covered.
Yeah, and the main reason that we've spent so much time in R&D is in developing all the sizes and all the different SKUs, like Pat was saying, elbows, T's, reducers, reducer bushing, street elbows, your couplings, even Euro flares that can attach to the mini split systems. But it's because it aids our value proposition of doing your whole job flame-free and being able to press the whole thing, because the moment that the technician has to get their torch out to do a certain part of the job, it just kind of defeats the purpose, because in their head they're probably just going to torch the rest, or that still's going to require them to pull a burn permit or whatever else. Maybe it's a sensitive environment that introduces new complications. So for us, it's really important that we have 1/4 inch to 2 1/8, because we want to be a part of all of the segments in residential, commercial, and the industrial applications.
Yeah, their products are really good. So I always tell this story. It's never going to take away brazing completely. You still got to be able to braze, but I've had applications where I'm in hospitals, or I do work at a major drug factory facility in Indianapolis, and they laughed the first time I said I need a torch. They're like, you don't have enough insurance. And then they're like, it's a 2-week class you have to go through that they put on before they let you light a torch. And so luckily, I had a compressor I had to change out, and
it's a nightmare scenario.
I brazed in stubs outside, capped it off. I brought it in. I was able to cut out the existing compressor, press in a new compressor. A lot of times I'll go back in with a flare dryer, or they have some ancillary products. They have filter dryers you can actually press on the ends. It's pipe-sized tubing coming out the end. And I was able to do it without ever lighting a torch in the facility. And actually, the job went faster and smoother if I would have, than I would have. I did use a torch. I didn't have to drag in a big, heavy nitrogen tank to purge and all that stuff, fire watch, and it makes it a lot easier. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's like, you brought up a really good point that I've like been hearing quite a bit, maybe over the last year, different contractors coming up to me that because I'm not a tech, I don't know everything that goes on in your job, but they're like, yeah, I actually reported to my insurance company that I do 60% flame-free installs, and I got a huge reduction in my insurance premiums and stuff like that.
Oh, I got a new talking point for work. I'm going to get some press tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it is super good, especially like you were saying in those healthcare facilities. They don't want to introduce flames into them. If you're going into an environment like we did a really cool job with Jamie Christensen up in Seattle, and he was like in an actual still working machine factory, and they still wanted all their employees to keep working because they've got to hit production numbers. But the whole time he's able to continue adding the AC that they were doing in there because he was not having the flame and having permits or anything like that. So everybody was just working on the floor, and he's just in the forklift up there pressing and installing this big VRF system.
Yeah, that's a really cool project to see unfold on social media. Jamie does a really good job. He's really passionate, and I'm really proud of that guy because, just a few years ago he was working for somebody else. Now he's launched his business. He's growing. He's hired people. And he's a big proponent of press technology. Yeah,
it was fun to be with him on that job because I kind of hassled him into letting me come film him, and he had just went on his own, and he was using our product. And just like anybody who's using our product, sometimes they have a little bit of skepticism at first until they keep using it, and then they prove that it actually works. And he's like, Jessica, this is my first big job by myself. I'm the one on the hook. I'm a little scared. I'm like, Jamie, we got you. We got you. But that was like 3 years ago now.
Yeah, press is growing in momentum. It's been huge in the plumbing sector for years and years and years. And, refrigeration is no different than plumbing. When it first came out for plumbing, there were so many skeptics, so many naysayers.
Still is.
So many people that didn't understand it. And it's just...
No, it's a
come
standard.
Out. Oh, yeah. It's come straight over to refrigeration. It's the same thing. You see guys online talking crap and running their mouths. And I try to, like, hey, have you done this? Have you used it? Like, I've had so many fittings fail. I'm like, did you send it back to the manufacturer? I said, anybody that manufactures a fitting, if you have a fitting fail and you send it back to them, they want that fitting because they want to see if the fitting actually failed or if it was a process you missed in the installation of the fitting, because they don't want those fittings to leak. They have a lot of stake behind those fittings, so they want them back. And like, oh, we didn't send them back. I'm like, I bet if you did, you'd have to see an O-ring pushed out or cut or nicked or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like I like to say, press is a shortcut because it is. But you still have to follow the same steps of the prepping the tube as you should when you're brazing, and it's very critical though when you're pressing, making sure that you clean the pipe, make sure there's no scratches, manufacturer writing, anything that your fingernail could catch. You wouldn't want to press on that. You'd want to cut that out and get a new piece of that.
Yeah.
And then you want to ream it because there is a seal inside of there. That's the primary component that's helping keep out the refrigerant, so you don't want to dislodge that seal. And you want to mark it for depth. Make sure you've inserted it far enough, but not too far to compromise your next connection. So you do have to follow those steps, but I will say 99% of warranty claims we've ever had has been installer error because they want to short the shortcut, or they may be a plumber and they're doing both, and they are pressed in different areas, and so they kind of assume maybe it's pressed in the same spot.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So I mean, it's the same process you got to do when you braze. You got to cut the pipe. You got to ream and deburr it. You got to sand it, clean it, make sure there's no inclusions in the pipe. It's just brazing's a little more forgiving because you're actually filling that hole. You're filling that section. So people will take shortcuts and they think they can do that with a press fitting, and you can't do that. But I'm telling you, it's no extra longer steps to prep the pipe, but you're going to make it up on the speed which you're going through the system. You're not purging nitrogen. You're not dragging that heavy nitrogen tank along. It's well worth it in the long run.
yeah, absolutely. I have many stories of people that's like, I won this job because it was going to take my competitor 3 weeks longer to complete it, and I was able to deliver that part of the job in 3 days. So they looked better.
Not cheaper, but faster.
Yeah, and they saved money and made the same amount.
Yeah, labor is a huge component. People, they see the price of the fitting, but I'm like, well, take the labor into fact. If you can do the same job in half to a third the time, you're going to make it up on labor versus fittings. It's going to be well worth it.
Yeah.
Closer. But what you got over there, Jason?
Oh, we're on number 2. So what problem was RLS created to solve?
What problem? Well, I think right now a really big problem that the industry is facing, and everybody's talking about it nonstop, and I mean, this wasn't our initial solver, but it was definitely part of the equation, is the shortage that's happening in the trade. And you want to get people in there, and sometimes that might be a younger apprentice or newer person on the scene, and this is just one part of the job that you can equip them with a little bit quicker than learning the craftsmanship of brazing, get them out there and really just adding to your skill set. But we've seen a huge increase, too, as people are a little bit nervous with the A2Ls. Even though we know they're pretty low flammability and all this and that, people get scared anytime you hear that word. So if you're able to eliminate any sort of flames, that makes everybody feel better, makes the tech feel better, makes the boss feel better. You're not out there. You're burning any buildings down or setting anybody's house on fire.
So I'll tell a story real quick. My son, both my boys work with me. I'm very fortunate in that aspect. But my oldest son been working with me like 2 weeks, and I have this historic college campus I work on. We do all their work, and to get a burn permit, you actually have to go to City Hall, which is like a half hour away. You got to wait a 2-hour line. You got to come back, do the job, and then go repeat that process, turn that burn permit in. And he'd just been here like 2 weeks. So like he was new. He was scared to death, and we went up on the roof, and I showed him how to put the fittings together on the condenser unit, cutting out a piece of pipe and putting in flare fittings for a dryer and stuff. And then I shoved him up in a hole in an attic above a walk-in cooler as a light fixture, 2x2 light fixture to take out. Shoved him up there, gave him a section of pipe. He found the leak the day before, so we went back, and he went up there, reamed it, deburred it. We pulled that thing down to like 250 microns and sent it, and it's still running, 3.5 years later, no problems. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So look at that.
Yep.
New guy on the scene doing something.
Yeah, he's still learning to braze, though, so he still wants to braze. He still wants to do it all.
That takes a while, and that's part of being good at your job is knowing everything. You should know brazing. That's very important, and you'll have to use it all the time. But if you have another skill set to add to your toolbox, why wouldn't you add that?
Yeah. There's days I can't braze to save my life still, and I've been doing it for 15 years.
Pat actually taught me how to braze. And I must say I had a lot of fun.
That was fun. What's next, Jason? What you got?
Thoughts on press technology gaining momentum at the AHR Expo?
You know what? The AHR Expo, this is my 5th year at the Expo or 4th year at the Expo. And press is a very polarizing, topic. And it's really fun. They hear the press tool go off and they want to, what's that going on? Tool's fun. But for us, for people to believe in something, especially in this industry, as somebody who's very hands-on, they've got to try it out. They've got to see it in person. They got to touch it, feel it. I was saying this yesterday. Seeing is believing, doing is knowing. And for us to be able to come to a show like this, have exposure with contractors, our distributors to come bring it into their branches, industry leaders and teachers of union halls and apprenticeship programs is completely invaluable to us and how important it is because they actually get to see the product, test it out themselves, and connect with our team and learn about, we have 20 million fittings in the field. This isn't so new anymore.
So I do a lot of high school career days or college days, and I go in there as a trade. I'll be the only trade in there. It's kind of depressing, really, to me. But I go in there, and it's all these colleges, and it's me in there with a table, and I got my company logo on there. And my favorite thing to do is I bring tools, but I get that press tool out, and I just bring a bunch of copper fittings, and I just repress the same fitting over and over and over because I don't want to spend a fortune. But the kids hear that sound, what's that? And it intrigues them, and they want to come over and do it, and they're so excited, and it's actually worked out. Both my boys work with me, but my youngest son, he started playing with the tools there. His friends started playing with tools there. We actually picked up another one of the kids from the local school. So the tool is a big benefit to show people.
Yeah, exactly. And you bring up a point, too, like they are more expensive than a brazed fitting. On average, they're around 3 to 5 times the price of a brazed fitting. The tool itself is an investment. It can be a couple $1,000s. But the thing is, on that tool especially, that's that one-time investment. You don't have all your consumables constantly. You factor in those benefits if you're an owner or maybe the operations guy or it's just yourself and you want to feel more confident about doing it. Insurance, time, it all adds up. Safety can almost be practically, you can't put a price sometime on a peace of mind.
No, that fire watch is costly. I've had jobs where a fire watch has to be a different person, and they have to stay there. I have one place that says 8 hours. So if the job takes 6 hours and I'm gone, that guy has to stay there for 8 hours with a fire extinguisher doing nothing. You know, we're paying overtime rates. We're paying another guy there. A lot of times it's a warranty call. The manufacturer's not going to pay that. And then they get mad if you try to charge your customer for that. And it's a tricky situation sometimes, but it makes it a lot easier for sure.
Yeah.
How has RLS evolved as press adoption has grown?
You know, we originated out of our sister company called Ciro Copper Tube. They're also located just outside of St. Louis. They have line sets, industrial plumbing, tubing, all of that. And basically in 2011 and 12, they were like, hey, look at all these press fittings in plumbing. How do we do this for HVAC refrigeration? But the thing is, the pressures are completely different. You know, to get a press fitting for ACR rated, it has to test, or it has to get listed at 700 PSI. To get that testing, you have to go up to 2100 and hold it for a minute. And Canada has a 4-factor or 5-factor rating, so it has to go even higher there. And so for us, the biggest thing and challenges in that was figuring out how to make this work, make people feel confident. And to be honest, you had a bunch of engineers and a bunch of people that don't really know anything about the industry. So there were learning curves and figuring out what products actually needed. What do they actually do on the job? If it's a residential equipment and the valve's there and they can't press on it, what do you do? I don't know. You know, I've really seen it evolve just in, honestly, exposing people to it and just them seeing it, really.
Well, the manufacturers are really getting involved with equipment now. I mean, they're all putting longer stubs on there so you can cut the bell end off so you can press right
They
onto
finally
the...
listen.
Yeah, they're a lot more considerate now.
Yeah, they're starting to realize that, you know, more and more people are going this way. With the A2Ls, you know, people don't want their guys with a torch, so a lot of companies are adopting the press, and, you know, a lot of the manufacturers are getting on board, putting the longer stubs on there, and it's making it easier. And think about it. You can just press it on there and go. A good friend of ours, Rich, his sons work with him. He owns a food service repair company, and they do a lot of installs, and they do a ton of walk-ins. And he asked the walk-in manufacturer, he's like, hey, can I use press fittings? And they're like, well, we don't care as long as you warranty it just like you would any other work. He said, no, I'll warranty it longer. So.
Yeah, but one of the biggest things that we've seen, especially over the last 2 years and the growth of it and how that's affected us, is we've just added this year, it'll be finally complete in November, multi-million-dollar new lines so that we can continue to meet the production needs and what the market wants, because we do ship around the world, and we're all manufactured right in St. Louis, Missouri. We get all our copper from our sister company right outside of St. Louis, who mines everything basically here in Arizona and Nevada and all that. So it really is a U.S. product, but we're able to ship in 2 days to everybody. We've seriously invested in training because we want to help elevate the trades. And, you know, if this is just one part of knowing anything, it's actually a pretty small part of the whole thing. And I spend a lot of time talking about it. But for us, it's really important to be an educator, especially this year. We've, if anybody's familiar with PHCC or in any of those local chapters, we're partnering with them this year in a new sponsorship, their Rising Leaders program. And what that does, too, for business owners is it helps them recognize maybe an upcoming person in their business who they want to help become a right hand. But just because you know how to do HVAC doesn't mean you know how to do finance. You know how to do marketing, and you know how to do operations and anything like that. So it basically puts them through like a mini MBA to professionally develop people too, so that they continue to expand their business. So we're not just here to peddle press fittings, but we also want to help encourage people and develop them and watch them grow.
Nice.
So,
So what is the biggest misconception when it comes to pressing versus brazing?
I think the biggest misconception is that people think press can leak and bad things can happen, but for some reason that wouldn't happen with a braze fitting.
I've only seen a handful of press fittings leak, and it's generally installation issues. I'm famous for I got a video. I was doing a bunch of evaporators and some low boys in a restaurant. They were all remote condensed. I was inside changing the evaporators, and I cut the line coming through the back wall, and I was questionable. I probably shouldn't have pressed it, and I did it anyways, and it leaked. And I had to cut out a stainless steel wall on the other side, repipe this thing in. It cost me like 3.5 hours worth of work. But they have a product now that I think will take care of pressing up against tight situations like that.
That is true. And just to say, you brought up a situation about where you had a press fitting fail because of whatever. It sucked or it was installed wrong. I don't know. But nobody ever goes, well, then I had this time the braze fitting failed, or I had this guy do it and he didn't do it correctly, or whatever. That happens too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, Pat's plugging in. We did just, especially important to your type of installs, is new close quarter jaws. So when you're trying to get into those tight spaces and equipment, or refrigerators or this and that, we have these new ring kits coming out. And Pat, I want you to come by the booth later because we're giving you one.
Heck yeah.
Because you're one of the people that actually gave us this idea and encouraged us to manufacture this and get it made. So we are going to be giving you it.
I really appreciate that.
The Finley fitting?
Yeah.
Yeah, secretly, internally.
I'm going to have it laser etched. No, I'm just kidding. That's really cool. I've seen those in plumbing for years, and I was like, man, we need that in refrigeration, in the press ACR world. And especially in my situation, I've been in a lot of small, tight environments, and that's what happened to me. I was up against the wall, and the gun was just at a weird angle, and I couldn't get it flush, and I did it anyways, and I learned the hard way. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have brazed that one and pressed everything else. So that's really cool.
Just us trying to add to the portfolio so you can do the whole job.
Oh, yeah. It makes 100% sense for you guys. I'm excited to see that. I've seen it advertised on some tool places for a while, and I was like, hey, Jessica. She's like, what do you mean? They're advertising that already? So that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Safety and efficiency advantage for the technicians. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I think we've touched on it quite a few times, but I've talked a lot about safety, but the efficiency of it, the fact that somebody can go in and complete a job faster. Right now, you're not just trying to figure out how to do things better, but you're trying to figure out how to win more jobs or be more competitive in your market. If you all kind of have the same thing to offer, what are you competing on? A lot of times it will come down to price, or if you have like finance terms that you can do, or I don't know, you have good marketing. I'm not sure. But if you're able to, say, you're a residential contractor, go into somebody's home and win the job because you're going to go, I'm not going to bring a torch into your house. Does that make you feel better? Yeah, that makes me feel better because I don't know you, and you're going to bring that in my house, and that kind of scares me. Or in a big VRF job, like we've done, for example, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Nice.
26,000 fittings on that. You think that went faster?
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. That's a lot of fittings.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was like 26 miles of pipe.
That's crazy.
So, that really does build into a competitive advantage for you when you are going to bid.
Yep, 100%. So let's talk about compatibility, tools compatibility. If you invest in the RLS platform, you can only use RLS fittings. I have to tell people that. I mean,
yeah.
People, it's not like some of the plumbing fittings where everybody's jaws work on everybody's stuff. If you invest in RLS, that's the fittings you have to go with.
Yeah. So the jaws are specific to the press fitting.
Yeah.
And that is really important because we do have different press profiles. We're unique because we invented this ACR category. All our fittings are soft copper. We anneal them, heat them back up after they've been, formed to about 1,000 degrees. But why that's important and kind of our secret sauce is when you go and use the tool and press it onto the tube, it changes that copper at a molecular level and actually work hardens it to the pipe. So that's what's creating that permanent mechanical joint. If you come by our booth, I'll show you a cutaway of that inside of what that joint actually looks like. And you've seen it, but it's almost like melted into the tube, and you can hardly, you can see the seam, but
it's pretty hard to see. It's pretty cool. That furnace is cool to see, too.
Yeah, it's huge. I call it the big easy bake oven. And I tell if anybody irritates me, I'm going to throw them in there.
Uh-oh. Do not get on Jessica's bad side if you work at RLS. That's funny. So, if someone was to get involved, in press right now, you guys have that huge catalog now, 1/4 to 2 1/8. You guys really stepped up on the larger size for these bigger jobs. Let's talk about tooling. Like, is it once you get to a certain size, you're going to have a different press gun, or?
Yeah, so the tooling, I won't lie to you guys. When you look at that tool matrix, you're like, whoa, this is a little bit of a confusing eye chart right here. But that's because we've just kind of tried to meet everybody where they're at and what they're comfortable with. So if you're somebody that's already using Milwaukee and you trust Milwaukee and you have Milwaukee batteries, or it's rigid, or maybe you're somebody, so we got a jaw kit for you that will fit that tool. So you don't have to go get another tool because maybe your company does plumbing as well, or gas. So just get the heads. Or you're somebody that's just refrigeration and you don't have any tool. We have a tool that we can offer you for that. If you only press up to 1 1/8, don't spend extra money and get the bigger sizes. Get this smaller tool. Now, if you're pressing 1 5/8 and 2 1/8, that requires a 32 kilonewton long throw tool because how much copper you're moving.
It's a lot.
That requires a lot of force. That's not easy. It's just like when you're brazing it, that takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Make sure you have the right tool for application. But that matrix, it breaks it all down. All the different companies that have press tools and, what jaws to get to fit those tools. It's really cool you guys have that out there.
Yeah.
I have the Klauke. I started off only doing refrigeration. Now I've gotten into plumbing side of it a little bit. So I've got a rigid 251, which is a compact tool, which, most companies make kits for. So it's just make sure you got the right gun.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because it's like, whoa, this is a lot of options, and I'm not exactly sure what I need. Talk to somebody. It's just too many options because we're just trying to meet you where you're at and what you can, what you want to invest in, or what works for what installs you're doing.
Yeah, you can reach out to the social media team, or you can get on the website and it's all on there. Breaks it down for you. Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's see. Trying to look here. We've been kind of jumping around a little bit.
We tend to do that. We blab.
Yeah, I don't stick to a script. That's why I don't use a script. It was nice to try to do one for this, and it just got blown up. So let's talk about the booth. You guys have got a huge booth this year. Mm-hmm. The truck's in there. I encourage you to stop by and check out the truck.
Yeah, so Pat mentioned it in the very beginning. He was alluding to this burst chamber test where we pressurize the fittings because, everybody wants to know, what can this handle? Is it going to stay connected, or what does it go to? So I was saying earlier we have to test to 2,100 PSI to get a 700 listing. But our 3/8 that we're showing on our truck, we basically backfill it with water because we can't use gas, or we're basically making a little pipe bomb, essentially. But it's the same thing they do at UL. And we'll let you press the fitting. It's all you. You've done it. No tricks involved. We hook it up in that chamber. We bring it right up to 2,100 because we already know we can do that. And then we just see how far it can go. And usually right now that's hitting about 4,000 to 4,500 PSI in a 3/8. And even our 2 1/8 will go above 2,000 PSI before the tube burst.
That's a little scary, 2 1/8. That is a pipe bomb. So they fill it with water, so when it does go, it just the water dissipates.
Yeah.
The water doesn't compress. If you just put gas in there, the gas compress, and that's when you get the big explosion. So, but they got a little regulator, and it's set to 2,100, and it hits it right off the bat. Just goes straight to 2,100, and just little twist, and you just sit there and wait. And
it's fun. It's a really fun demo. Come see it. It takes 5 minutes.
Everybody jumps because they don't know when it's going to go off.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What else does the truck have on it?
It just has all of the tools and jaws that you can use. Somebody's always on there. It travels around the country to distributors, union halls, and just to expose contractors to the technology. We like to do a lot of events too with NAVAC, and when we'll do counter days with them and make it pretty fun. But it's just, honestly, it just looks cool. And then in our booth too, we've been doing press competitions, and we have been having different people like you come in there and lose. And
oh no, they were cheating. They pressed like 3 sets of fittings with two tools at once, and we only lost by 1. So I really I call shenanigans on that, but that's for another conversation off microphone.
So were the unions always on board, or was there a time they were skeptical before you guys started working with them?
It's region dependent. Like in the Northeast and Boston and stuff, they're pretty on board, but Chicago, we've had a little bit of a tough time, and it just kind of depends who's in charge there, what they care about. But for them, I think a lot of people have the misconception that when it's efficient, that means less hours, which means less money, and I'm union. But that's really not the case for them. It's all about the safety, because we know they deeply care about that. So we've had really good success. They obviously want anybody going through there to be the smartest and the best, and exposing them to everything out there is what you do to be that. And so they love to have us in there and show the guys and gals that are in there and just help teach.
Nice. So have you walked the show at all yet? Or
no, unfortunately. I always have to wait till Wednesday when I'm a little bit calmer, but it's very exciting.
You guys have another press competition coming up this afternoon. What time is that?
1 p.m.
So what are the team captains for that one?
You know what? I'm going to be really horrible, and I have no idea.
Put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Because our marketing coordinator, Brittany, who is freaking amazing, has taken over and really handled all that.
Nice.
So she's in charge of that.
Nice. So come by the booth. There's a press competition. It's pretty cool to watch. They're trying to press a certain design. You got to do it with speed and accuracy, and make sure you take those second press guns away, Jessica.
You know what? I'm sorry.
That's fun. So what's next for RLS? You guys got anything else in the pipeline, or am I going to get you in trouble?
No, not necessarily. It's still just continuing to expand the product range and sizes, and have a good tool strategy to meet people where they're at. It's really simple. I talk a lot about just press fittings for ACR. Spend a lot of time thinking about them, making them seem interesting, but that's who RLS is. We are singularly focused on manufacturing ACR press fittings, and that is our primary focus. And that's why I can confidently say and sit up here and for the last 5 years put my name and attach it to this brand, because I see what goes into it. I see how reliable it is. And because we are so focused on just this one product, I will say it is the best ACR press fitting out there.
Yeah, I went to your open house when you guys came to your new facility and started launching, and you had a bunch of people come in, and there's local contractors, some social media people came in. We showed the truck off. I think Ben got in trouble with his drone, shouldn't have been flying it in the area.
Yeah, we're right next to Boeing headquarters.
Yeah, so evidently it's a no-fly zone for drones. But we had a blast. But the people from the factory came up, and they were so excited to talk about what they do there, and they had that sense of pride and ownership in being a part of this company, and that's always refreshing to see.
Yeah, you know what? You actually would be really surprised how much work goes into developing a copper press fitting, because it is highly engineered. But we get all of our tube, whether it's the bigger sizes, so it comes in sticks, or we got the coils. We run it through a tube cutter, cut it. If it's 3/4 and under, it goes and gets hydroformed, which is really cool to see. Kind of like stamps the fitting out. If it's 7/8 and above, it's going to get spin formed. And you're like, I don't know what the hell that means, but it's really cool to see. So it goes through these different steps. If it's an elbow, it has to go to a bender, get bent to that perfect 90-degree or 45-degree angle. After that, it has to go and get inspected. After each step, one of these, it's getting visually inspected. Then, after that, it's going to go in the furnace, which is a very specific atmosphere designed to anneal that. Yeah. And it is huge. I mean, I think it's like probably 50 feet long. It's awesome. So it's going to go through that. And that and that softens it up, scrubs it, makes it look pretty and clean. And then after that, goes to another team where they insert the O-ring into it.
That's cool because it like blows it in there. It's like,
yeah, and I always make everybody do that
that's
task,
cool.
and the team members are always happy. It's like a little sewing pedal at the bottom, and
it's cool.
And then it gets packaged up. I forgot to mention, it gets, besides the visual inspections, it also goes through a laser inspection as well. 100% of our fittings are inspected. We don't test just the first or the 50th of the batch. 100% go under a laser machine where it measures 7 to 10 critical points, how long it is, how big the flare is, everything about it. And then it gets etched with all its special identity, the size, the pressure, all that. So, there's a lot that actually goes into it.
Yeah, that's cool to see. So anything else you want to talk about while I got you up here?
No, I think I could exhaust this category for you and re-engineer new ways to say things. But at the end of the day, press fittings, they're evolving in the industry as people adapt them. They're here to stay. They're efficient. They're safe. And we've been around now over 10 years with 20 million fittings in the field. If you don't believe us yet, come stop by or reach out to us on our website, and we'll personally come do a demonstration for your team just to show you.
Yeah, and if you're in my market and you ever want to see it, I'm willing to come to a job site, break some fittings, bring my personal tool, and let you use it. I just want people to understand, and I want to make sure that they know how to properly do it and do it before they make a decision. You need to make an informed decision, not just based on something you read on the internet or some stupid video you've seen where someone didn't do something right. So
So what do you guys have any plans for expansion? I can only imagine you guys have grown. So, I mean, physically, like maybe your plant size or acquisitions.
Yeah, so we just added 2 new lines that will be fully operating by the end of November. We have new packaging coming out that's a little bit more friendly to the customer and not just easier on us. And RLS outside of the United States is huge. We have a great business in Canada. We're the only press fitting passed in Canada right now because they do have even stricter testing. Mm-hmm. We have an entity in Europe just outside of London. We have a headquarters and a warehouse there where we ship across the EU. Did that right before Brexit, so that's been interesting. And actually, just this January, we established an entity in Japan.
Nice.
Just in Osaka.
That's exciting.
Yeah, which is kind of like the Godfather land of Duckless, anyhow.
Yeah.
We have representation and a director of sales that's located outside of Sydney, Australia. We sell into Latin America. We've done a little bit in Hong Kong, Singapore,
all this in
Brazil.
10 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
That's just how fast this market's growing, and once we get more people on board, it's going to even go even more.
Well, I've been walking around and seeing some similar things, and when you're the originator, everyone else is the duplicator, right?
You know what, though? That's good, because when we were the only ones out there talking about it, that's a little bit harder conversation when you're telling everybody this is amazing and you're the only one doing it. So when our competitors do enter the market, and especially strong ones, we have really good competitors, I will say that. They have good brand names and they have a good product. That only helps the category. That's what we're here for. We want to grow the press category. And so when you have good people promoting it, I think that should help give you confidence in it as well.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the booth number? Where can everybody find you?
We are in the South Hall, so take a little bit of a hike from here.
Downstairs.
Yep, and our booth number is 332. So right when you enter, we're just 3 rows back. We have a giant yellow hanging sign that says RLS ACR Press Fittings. You can't really miss us.
We'll
Come
be there.
by, press some fittings, burst a fitting.
Get a T-shirt.
They probably got some swag. They always got T-shirts and some other stuff over there. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, this industry. RLS is an amazing company to work with, and I just appreciate the relationships that we have. So I look forward to growing that some more, and I can't wait to make some footage with this new press ring. If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com, or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.